What is up, ladies and germs? My name is King Yami, and I'm here to do something I was kind of contemplating on what I wanted to do with this. But I think I'm just going to do the basics for this one because, let's be honest here, I'm probably going to be ranting completely about everything I'm about to talk here. So, without further ado, here's the top 5 things I love about Samurai Jack. Let's get into it. So one quick thing before I begin this, I wanted to say that all 5 of these things I'm not going to put in any particular order for the fact that honestly I could say one thing and I'd be like, but yeah, that's so cool though about this, and everything is just so good that I just can't really rate them. So let's start off with number 1, which is the music. The music is being composed by people named James L. Varnable, Chris Riccardi, I'm gonna mess up all these names, and Paul Dillinter, and they are very genius, I believe, in the way they do music. From the electro music that you hear when Jack goes into the future, to the Takio drums, which are my favorite instruments, by the way, and the little wood clackers and things that for the Japanese kind of tone that they would go for when it comes to battles and stuff. Even to some hip-hop themes like the actual intro, which, if fun fact, was actually made by the will.i.am. Yes, the will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas. And that's probably why it's so catchy, because a lot of their songs are really made to be catchy. I mean, come on. Wacha! Gotta get back to the past, say Samurai Jack. Like, you gotta just keep saying that over and over again. I know you will. And you're welcome for having that in your head right now. Alright, so let's get into number 2, which is the art. Now, the artist, more of the creative director of this, his name is Jindy Tartakovsky. And you might know some of his work if you're big on Cartoon Network, because, he has Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls. His art style is very, you know when you see it. And honestly, I don't really have to say much about it. As they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And if you look at anything in this show, whether it's the future, where it's all kind of has bright red colors and different things to it, to the past, where you just see the Japanese area of the towers and who first came. Everything's so vibrant and so good for your eyes and whatnot. So that's all I really have to say about the art. Literally go check it out. You will not be disappointed. Now for number 3, we're gonna get into 2 of the main characters in this series, Jack and Aku. Jack, who is played by Phil Lamar as the voice actor. Yes, that Phil Lamar from Mad TV, and from something you might have known him for, you might have not, but he is also in the Justice League as the Green Lantern, John Stewart. Yeah, his voice is very good for Jack. I wouldn't expect it from him, but he definitely has surprised me as far as the voice actor goes. And much props to him for bringing a character that really is quite the protagonist. Whatever Jack gets into, whether he's learning things from a gang member or fighting off somebody as much as blind arrow people who are ridiculously good at shooting arrows, he's always able to adapt. He's always able to just take on whatever gets to him. And let's not forget that magic sword of his. Anything Jack goes with, it's over when you meet him. And even if he might lose at the first point, he always comes back 10 times stronger. Now, as far as Ku, who is played by Mako oh man, I'm sorry for messing this guy's name up. Imatsu? That's the only time I'm gonna do it. But, yeah, for Mako, who you might know from me as the voice of Iroh from Avatar, but for some older heads out there might know him as the Witch Doctor from Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer, is pretty iconic, let's be honest here. And it definitely shows as his voice of Aku, who, this guy can be the big shit talker here. you see him and he's gonna talk down on you and you're gonna feel bad. Like you're gonna be ready to fight him because he's just like all up in your face, like haha, you're an idiot and shit. And like the fact that Aku can shapeshift into anything he wants, it makes him very formidable. And like there's an episode that I like from them where he actually shapeshifts into this girl who actually goes to protect Jack, and Jack falls for her. And in that entire thing, it's just like, oh man, this girl is kind of cool. But at the same time, something's off about her. And then you turn to learn that it was actually Aku the entire time, just giving Jack some despair in the fact that he can't get back to the past. And it's really well done. Like, Aku is quite the villain. Like, from his voice to his shape-shifting to the fact that how he fights. Like, when they fight each other, it's very good fighting. Like, you're going to be on the edge of your seat every time they fight each other. But yeah, I love these two characters, and I would love to see more of them in the new series. As we see, Jack is there, but Aku was only in the voice thing, which I was talking about in my review. If you want that, go check out the review, and all that stuff. But we're going to move on to the next one, which I kind of already talked about, which are the fights of this series. I won't say every fight, but almost every fight in this show is memorable. From what I was talking about with the blind arrowman to the fact when he was like with a gang, and like when he was getting chased by these samurai robots. Like, I know that sounds very cheesy, samurai robots, but when you see the fight between him versus the robots, and the fact that they're kicking his ass at the first part of it, it's just like, man, what can Jack do against these guys? And like, that's the whole thing of the video I was talking about with Jack. He always seems to find an interesting way of overcoming what is happening. Like for the gangster people, he actually infiltrated their ranks and becoming like a part of their group before everything went into a whole fight thing in there. And like, I love every fight. I think my favorite fight is probably one that I'm going to be talking about pretty soon in number 5. Don't want to tell it too far, but let's just say it has something to do with the rivalry. But yeah, the fights are great, and if there's like a compilation of any of those fights, go ahead and send it to me, because I'll watch that like all day. But yeah, anyway, let's get to number 5, which I was going to tell you is the Scotsman. Now, the Scotsman falls into a category of pretty much what I love about pretty much any show I watch, for the most part, that has anything to do with action, and that is rivalries. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of a rant here, so I'm sorry if you aren't really willing to listen to that, but here it goes. I love rivalries. I think that a rivalry is actually bigger than a villain could be. Like, let's think about it. We know the villains from Dragon Ball Z, like everybody knows them. But the biggest thing people probably know about Dragon Ball Z is the rivalry between Vegeta and Goku. And it's like the same for another anime, like Yugi versus Kaiba, Naruto versus Sasuke. Like, the rivalry, it's always that thing. It's like, man, this guy would win. No, this guy would win. Why I like him better? Why I like him better? And it just pits people, fans together, as well as the characters themselves. And where a villain could be very good, and it's a good reason to watch the show, a rival can do so much more, in my opinion, than a villain could. Like, a rivalry can push our hero to new heights. And yet, unlike most villains where it's just like, well, is the villain going to win? Is the villain going to lose? More often than not, we know the villain's going to lose in the end. Versus a rival where it's just like, he has a chance of winning. Like, he might be taking all these L's and doing all that stuff, but there's always that chance you feel, maybe this time's the time. Maybe this time he actually succumbs our protagonist, and our protagonist is going to take that L, and he's going to have to come back even stronger. And I love that about a rivalry. Now, going back to the Scotsman. The first time you see the Scotsman, you're kind of like, what in the world is happening? But then you learn that he's pretty much the self-proclaimed best swordsman in the land. And with Jack being the one that Aku hates the most, he's kind of been taking his spotlight. So they end up fighting on this bridge, and it is a great fight. Like, it is like swordsman versus swordsman. This is what you're looking for if you're that kind of person. And it's actually so good that they had to do it in 2 parts. And like they actually eventually they become friends and all that other good stuff. But you know they're still rivals. Like if they see each other again, man, oh man, it's gonna be like totally lit. Now, that being said, the Scotsman's personality is great. And I forgot to mention this, but he's also being played by John DiMaggio. And his voice is very good. And just, if you can, just listen to his theme. I swear, it was made by like the 2 Steps from Hell guys. I know it wasn't, but it feels like it. So, with that, like, they actually have another 2-part with him and Jack, where Jack loses his memory. And then he goes through this entire length to make sure that Jack gets his memory back. And that is awesome. But yeah, I love the Scotsman. He's possibly my favorite part in the entire show. That being said, with the new episode that's going around, I don't know if, like, I would love for him to come back. Man, I would love to come back. I mean, it's been 50 years though, so unless he's in the same stasis that Jack is in, I don't see that happening. But I would love to see it. Maybe like final episode, he comes in to help him with something. Or maybe in the next episode that's coming up, like he could be coming in to help him escape from the girls as he's getting his ass kicked or whatever. But yeah, like, I would love to see that. So yeah, there you have it. My top 5 things I love about Samurai Jack. And tell me what you like about Samurai Jack. I mean, what's your top 5 things, or top 10 things, or top 11 things, whatever they may be. Leave them in the comments, let me know. As far as what's coming up, tomorrow I should have that special video I was talking about that I'm actually excited for. And I hope you've gone back to see that. And as far as other things, like maybe if you've been catching up